Hi, my name is Alejandro Alvarez, and this video is my real defense for my research proposal called Male Preservist Teachers, Masculinity Perspectives and its Incidences into Their Teacher Role, a Narrative Study. Okay, so to begin, as the research question is considered as the compass, I'm going to start reading it aloud. So the research question I wrote down is: what do the voices of former students from the School of Languages at UPTC reveal about the diversity of masculinities and their incidences into the teacher role they will develop? In that sense, of course, I create a general objective and three specific objectives, which are those ones. The main objective is to analyze the perceptions of former students about the diversity of masculinities and their incidences into the teacher role they will develop. And in that sense, I wrote three specific objectives that will work as steps to achieve the main one. So in that order, the first one is to describe negative and positive aspects of the participants' voices about their experiences related to masculinity's diversity. The second one refers to narrate the participant voices related to the masculinities they have been able to get along with. And the third one is to understand the participants' voice backgrounds and the relationship between those stories and the importance of their masculinities concept into their future teacher role. Okay, so let's move on. And now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the introduction and the justification. So as maybe you probably know, if you knew me, you know that I'm gay. I'm really proud of saying that. Because, well, before being gay, I'm a person, and I think that is what is like the important thing in here. So I don't feel like ashamed to referring myself as an homosexual guy. But when I was at school, it was like a problematic condition because of the heteronormativity my partners were used to. So it encouraged me in a certain part to be more authentic than before, and also to focus my thesis, or well, my research proposal, in something related with it. Okay, gender and English are like isolated topics for most of the teachers, but they are like really related, because, well, even if in English the gender is not like a grammar aspect such as in Spanish or French, most of the time the discourse could be feminist or chauvinistic, and it is because of the way we speak or we talk. So there are like some seals we put in our discourses. Okay, now I'm going to move a little bit about the justification. Well, gender identity is like really important nowadays. As you probably know, nowadays we talk a lot about feminism, about LGBTQ plus rights, about masculinities, feminities, well, a lot of subjects related with gender and all its implications. So first of all, gender identity is something that we developed in classrooms, and it is like very I don't know how to say it. It is something we developed at school, but it is like more evident through our high school when we are teenagers, because that's the time when we starting to experience and to spend time with people like us. So that's like the proper time to develop our gender identity. And we as teachers must be guides of those processes, because most of the times gender is still a taboo at the schools, even if nowadays everyone is talking about gender. So it is like, I don't know, maybe hypocritical, because, well, it's supposed that schools are like a kind of second houses, but we don't talk about gender neither in our homes, neither in the schools. So it's important to open spaces to discuss about gender and all our and all the sociocultural implications it has. Sorry. So well, I'm going to move on with the second key term. In this case, is masculinities. I don't remember the specific author, but someone said that there are an infinite number of masculinities as well as an infinite number of feminities, because all men are not the same. So even if there are heterosexual or homosexual, they are not going to develop their masculinity in the same way that their peers. So it is a little bit refers to that, and to be aware that there are a huge diversity of masculinities, because there are not an unique way to be a man nowadays. So it is important to help our students and our teachers to understand that. Heteronormativity is considered as the imaginaries or the beliefs we constructed collectively and that are social established, and most of the time they are stereotypical, because they positionate men as something superior than women, and design specific tasks to women and to men. And education, of course, because as I'm studying a bachelor, everything I have to develop in this research proposal must be focused on education. Okay, so I'm going to show you a quote. It says, unless teachers professionals development TPD programs in teaching English as a foreign language, the EFL education integrate gender awareness courses or seminars, English teachers will not be prepared to recognize ways in which gender meanings are transmitted and legitimated, and how gender inequities are reproduced in their teaching context. Mojican Castañeda Peña, 2017, I'm sorry, 2017, page 140. So basically, the researcher said that it is really important to talk about gender, and even more when we are preparing ourselves to be language teacher, because we are the language we speak. So we are going to build directly our students' personality. So it is very important for us to be aware about it. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the problem statement. So well, first of all, as you probably have heard, recently my university, Universidad Pedagógica y Tecnológica de Colombia, UPTC, decided to create the Gender and Human Rights UPTC Observatory. It is focused on defend gender and human rights in my university, and also in a local context such as Tunja, the city in which it is located, and also the department, in this case Boyacá. Last semester I was attending to a subject where I developed a pilot survey. It was because I have to create a project, so I decided to focus myself on creating a gender training program for my school. So I created a survey and I applied it to 3 different groups of the 3 different programs available at that time. And well, I collect data, and I also analyze it and understand a huge amount of things, and I got my conclusions. Indeed, those conclusions were exposed in an event called a workshop, which is organized by informatics school at UPTC as well. And by doing that, I noticed that a lot of people, students, teachers, and external people, were interested in these kind of topics, because they are really important, relevant, and they are still unknown in our context. So that's why I decided to focus myself on it, and to encourage myself to continue developing this research, even if I modify it. At the beginning, I decided to work with masculinities and feminities, with LGBTQ plus community at the School of Languages, but I decided to narrow it, and now I'm just working with masculinities, with straight and homosexual students, male students at the same school. So well, that's something I'm going to talk more a little bit later. Okay, now moving to the next stage, it is literary review. As you know, it is a mixture between the state of the art and the theoretical framework. So the literary review I propose is composed by 4 main concepts. The first one is gender stereotypes, the second one is masculinities, the third one is gender identity construction in education, and the last one is narratives. So when we talk about gender stereotypes, we talk about the sociocultural imaginaries and a specific context or society have about gender. As we grew in a male chauvinist country as Colombia, it's very common to find a lot of gender stereotypes in our society, such as women are weaker than men, or men don't cry, or I don't know, don't cry like a girl. So those imaginaries affects directly the gender perspective or perception from the citizens which are immersed in it. So, well, it is like really important to fight gender stereotypes because, well, we are like evolving, and gender stereotypes just are like boundaries to achieve an equal society where men and women can work together. Masculinities, as I mentioned it before, are like the different beliefs and imaginaries men and women as well have about what is the meaning of being a man nowadays. So, for example, men play football, men kiss girls, men are super nasty, they don't clean the house, and so on. And those concepts are something which have been evolving because of the feminism, and now we talk about a diversity of masculinities because all men are different and they express their masculinity in a different way. Uh, and it doesn't matter if they are heterosexual or homosexual or bisexual or transsexual because, well, they are still men or feel themselves as men. Gender identity construction refers to the way we construct ourselves in education because as we spend most of the time at schools, it is like fundamental in the person we will turn into when we grow. So it is like the important role teachers have while we are constructing our gender identity. And narratives, because this is the way I'm going to collect data. This is a narrative study, and well, narrative stories where we expose experiences and when we reflect about past facts or actions that have incidences nowadays. Okay, let's move on. So, well, the methodology is super clear. Well, the research approach is narratives, and with it, I want to listen to my participants and get conclusions from the stories they share with me. The data collection instruments will be phenomenological interviews and journals. I'm going to organize 3 meetings by Google Meet because of the COVID-19 pandemic, and which and I'm sorry, and each interview will have like a journal talking about like specific things about the same topic. So, for example, I'm going to mention some stereotypes, looking for make them reflect about the topic I expose in the journal. And the context is, well, UPDC in Tunja at the School of Languages, specifically the Bachelor in Modern Languages Programming, or major. So, well, my participants are 4, as they have not chosen, their pseudonym yet. I use the first letter from their names, or if it is Mr. Key, Mr. Y, Mr. M, or Mr. J. All of them are male from the Spanish emphasis. 2 of them, Mr. Key and Mr. J, are heterosexual, and Mr. M and Mr. Y are homosexual. They have similar ages, from 20 to 25 years old. Yeah, I think those are like important generalities about it. Okay, so the way I'm going to analyze the data will be, bueno, using IPA for the phenomenological interviews, which is something proposed by Smith, Flowers, and Larkin. Also, I'm going to use the interaction analysis proposed by Reisman in 1993, and I'm going to categorize the results to conclude it. And those are the references, so thank you so much for listening to it. I hope you enjoy it and that my research proposal worked clear for you. Have an awesome day and take care. Bye bye.